My name is Arnold Ziliwin and I will be the one who will explain the types of abstract art. Number 1. Dadaism. It is an art movement formed during the World War in Zurich in negative reaction to the horrors and folly of the war. The art, poetry, and performance produced by Dada artists is often satirical and nonsensical in nature, and the movement in an art and literature based on deliberate rationality and negation of traditional artist values. Artists of the day who were influenced by contemporary European art movements like Dadaism and Futurism. Examples of Dadaism: the art of Marcel Duchamp's Fountain, 1917. Marcel Duchamp's Bicycle Wheel, 1913. Man Ray's in Grace Violin, 1924. Surrealism uses principles, ideas of practice of producing fantastic or incongruous imaginary or effects in art, literature, film, or theater by means of a natural, rational juxtaposition and combination. Surrealism aims to revolutionize human experience. It is balanced as rational vision of life with one that asserts the power of the unconscious and dreams. The movement artists find the magic and strange beauty in unexpected, and the uncanny, the disgraced, and the unconventionally. Example of surrealist art: Salvador Dali's The Persistence of Memory, 1931. René Magritte's The Treachery of Image, 1928. Johann Marius The Hunter, Catalan Landscape, 1924. Constructivism. This is an artistic architecture philosophy that originated in Russia beginning 1915. Vladimir Tatlin and Alexander Rodchenko. Abstract and austere constructive art aimed to reflect modern industry, society, and urban space. Style of movement in which assorted mechanical object and combined into abstract mobile structures form. The movement originated in Russia in the 1920s and has influenced many aspects of modern architecture designs. Examples: Vladimir Tallin's Tower, 1919. Tallin's Tower, also known as the Monument at the Third International, was Tallinn designed for a monumental building that was to be erected. Number 2. Elysistics Throne Room, 1923, and Alexander Rodchenko book. Abstract Expressionism. This is the applied to the new forms of abstract art developed by American painters such as Jackson Pollock, Mark Rothko, and William de Kooning in 1940s and 1950s. It is often characterized by gesture, brushstroke, or mark making, and the impression of spontaneity. An artist movement of the mid-20th century comprising diverse styles and techniques and emphasizing especially an artist's liberty to convey attitudes and emotion through non-traditional and usually non-representational means. Example of the arts: Jackson Pollock, number A1, 1948. Mark Rothko's Segram's Mural, 1958-1960. William de Kooning Excavation, 1950. Number 5. Optical art. This is abstract with many better known pieces created in black and white. Typically, it gives the viewer the impression of movements, hidden image, flashing, and vibrating patterns of a swelling or wrapping. An object art characterized by the use of straight or curved lines or geometric patterns, often for an illusionary effect, as of motion. Example of optical art: Bridge Relay Hesitate, 1964. Victor Vasarely Banya, 1964. Frank Stella Untitled Rabbit, 1964. Pop art. Pop art, it is based on modern popular culture and the mass media, especially as a critical or ironic comment of traditional fine art values. Pop art is a style modern art which began in the 1950s It uses bright colors and takes a lot of its techniques and subject matter from everyday modern life. Example of pop arts. Richard Hamilton, just what is it takes to make today's home so different, so appealing, 1956. Unworldly. Marilyn Diptych, 1962. Rory Lichtenstein, Wham, 1963. Minimalism. It is to describe movement in various forms of an art and design, especially visual art and music, where the work is set out to expose the essence, essential, or identity of a subject through eliminating all non-essential forms, features, or concepts. In the United States, in the 1960s, minimalism art is an extreme type of abstract art that usually depicted through simplistic shapes and hard edges, all while exposing the essence of the form and materialized use. The movement challenge preconceived notion of what art is could be. Examples: The Heine Hutch by Frank Stella, Yellow Piece by Ellsworth Kelly, The Marriage of Reason and Scholar by Frank Stella. Number 8. Conceptual art. It is an art in which concept of idea involved in the work takes precedence of traditional aesthetic, technical, and materials concept. Conceptual art can be and can look almost anything. This is because, unlike a painter or a sculptor who will think about how best they can express their idea in using paint or sculpture materials and techniques, a conceptual artist who uses materials in whatever form is most appropriate to putting their ideas across. This could be anything from a performance to a written description. Although there is no one only style or form used by conceptual artists, from the late 1960s, certain trends emerge. Example of conceptual art. Number 1. Robert Morris Document, 1963. Joseph Scasot, 1 and 3 Chairs, 1965. John Baldessari, I Will Not Make Any More Boring Art, 1971. Number 9. Photorealism. Photorealism, it is a genre of an art that encompasses painting, drawing, and other graphic media, in which an artist studies a photograph and then attempts to reproduce an imaginary as realistic as possible in another medium. Example of photorealism: Self-Portrait, 1967 to 1968 by Chuck Close, and last, McDonald's Pick Up, 1970 by Ralph Going.
Types of installation. Number 1. Body installation. The installation involving body painting is a meeting point of different art, direction, and visual aspects. It could be a combination of assemblage art, land art, fashion, stage design, costume, props, objects, sculptures, plants, performance, and painted bodies. Example: White body pan, 1972. Mechanical pan, 1973. Overflowing blood machine, 1970. Arm extension, 1968. Land installation. Land art is a movement that integrated art with nature. This shift came to be known as a land art, also known as earthworks on earth art. Land art or earth art is art that is made directly in the landscape, sculpting the land itself into artworks, or making structures in the landscape using natural materials such as rock or twigs. Example: Alan Caprow Yard, 1961. Joseph Brius. The End of the 20th Century, 1983 to 1985. Cornelia Parker, Cold Dark Matter, An Exploded View, 1991. Number 3. Performance installation. Artworks that are created through action performed by the artist of other participants, which may be live or record or scripted. Now an accepted part of the visual art world, the term has since been used to also describe film, video, photography, and installation-based artworks through which the actions of artists, performers, or the audience are conveyed. Examples: dance, music, opera, theater.